got the opportunity, and the opportunity was given to me 1 week out from the show. So Suman goes, I got you a fight. I'm like, boom, where is it? And he goes, Abu Dhabi. I'm like, holy can't, let's fucking go, baby. And this is like 1 week out from the fucking fight.
Bang, welcome back to the #1 podcast in the world. I am joined today with the UFN Lightweight champion right now, Josh Togo, who has a record of 10-4 as a professional fighter. Competed internationally, overseas, competed in all parts of Australia. Firstly, thank you for coming on today, champ.
Thank you for having me. No,
it's an honor, and I have so much respect for your field and what you do and your area of expertise. So it's great to sit here and talk to you.
No, thanks for having me. It's good to be here. Look, this is my first time doing a podcast, but hopefully it's not my last, and looking forward to the convo.
Why don't we start with the UFN? You're the champion right now. You know, you beat Robby Lara, was it?
Yeah.
Robby Lara in the UFN 29. How did you get introduced into the UFN to begin with?
Well, as an amateur, I fought on UFN, and it was the UFN number 2.
Wow.
And that was back, I don't know, 2014 or 2015 maybe, I think it was. And I fought, and I was training at a different gym at this time. Mm-hmm. I wasn't at ATT. I was at Darkside.
Okay.
And I fought Raymart, who's at ATT, and we fought for the amateur lightweight title. And that was on Urban Fight Night 2. And then...
Was that your first fight?
Nah, not my first amateur fight.
Right, okay. So
I think it might have been my 4th, maybe.
Right, so you fought on other promotions beforehand, and then you've come into UFN and you're like, fuck it, I'm going for the lightweight title.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So that was as an amateur. And then after that fight, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start venturing out and going to other gyms and just trying to see where I can excel at and better myself, because I feel like there was a lot more of myself to give. So I went out to ATT and I started training out there, and now I've been part of that gym almost since that fight, after maybe 2 months after that, Urban UFN 2. And I've been training there since. I didn't even have any more amateur fights after that fight. I went straight in as a pro. And then the next time I fought on UFN was 2017.
Can I just quickly ask you, those fights in the amateur, you lost both fights, right?
Bro, I had a shit record as an amateur.
Yeah, I was looking at your record on Tapology, and it is, I have to admit, is the most confusing record I've ever seen.
So, what Tapology shows, it only shows you some of the fights. It doesn't show you all the fights. So right. I actually was 1 win and 4 losses. Now that fucking sucks, right?
Look, dude, that's a tough record.
It's a fucking
As
horrible
an amateur,
record.
that is a tough record to hold.
Yeah. And then I had 4 losses back to back. And after that last loss, that's when I started training at ATT. Mm-hmm. And I was training there for about maybe anywhere between 7 and 9 months. And then that's when Suman and Ash come up to me and they're like, we're going to put you in for your first pro fight. So I didn't have any more experience as an amateur. I just went straight in for my first pro fight.
See, this for people who don't know much about the fight game, it's very much so like as an amateur, you want to really have a solid winning streak behind you so that you go into pro with a good record, you go into a pro with momentum, you go into the pro leagues with a lot of cage time under your belt. So it's very uncommon to find someone who's, 1-4 and then gets shot into the pros, and then as a pro actually does a lot better than what they did as an amateur. Like, that is very rare.
Yeah, well, 100%. It's definitely very unheard of. But I guess for myself, I just knew that this is it. This is the big leagues. I have to excel. I have to put my best foot forward.
You're just in the deep end.
Yeah, literally. I've thrown in the deep end, and I think on my Instagram page, it actually has my first pro fight.
Right.
Yeah, and then it was on a promotion down Melbourne, Hex Fight Series.
Should we pull it up?
Yeah, if you want.
Let's
pull it up. Yeah,
it's there. Come You
And,
just told us when to stop scrolling.
It was, and it was my first pro fight, and it went viral.
Really?
Yeah, it was a first round knockout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a pretty good knockout, and for it to go viral on your first pro fight, it was
That
pretty
must have been like going into that Hex fight. You must have felt so much like tension and pressure to perform that day, right?
I did. That's the see the video, the second one. No, next one. Yeah, that's it.
Let's play this first and foremost, and then
Probably not the best quality.
that's okay. We can run with it. So you're the closer fighter? Okay. As in like distance-wise, because it's a bit blurry, it's hard to make out.
You'll see, yeah.
Ooh.
And that was it.
Ooh. One punch knockout. 0 fucks given. That is ice cold.
What I say, can't I look like? Who does that? Jump on top of him? Not only that, the ref trips over. Fuck me dead. There's all types of shit going on in there.
Yeah, I mean, dude. So what have you done? You've kind of anticipated the punch coming in and you've beaten him to it. You're very quick off that. Off the back foot, you're very quick. And what else is very interesting? Yeah, you telegraph that really well. What else is really interesting about you is and probably one of my favorite things about you is you fight southpaw.
Yeah.
You're a southpaw.
So I'm a southpaw.
Yeah.
Left-handed. I'm actually ambidextrous, so I do it. I actually write with my right hand, pass, punch with my left, and I kick with my right foot. So it's kind of fucking weird, right?
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm exactly the same.
That's mad.
I write with my right hand, and when I fight, I'm southpaw.
Bullshit.
Swear to God.
Mad. So leading up to, prior to training at ATT, I was doing a lot of switch stance training. So I was training myself to be orthodox. I was training myself to be southpaw.
Yep.
And then I was making it more lateral so I can be more unorthodox. And then now, years later, I'm doing the same thing.
So you're comfortable in both stances.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it makes more of the fight a lot more interesting.
Absolutely, because when you fight a southpaw, it really changes the angles up and it really changes the positions that you can take, and there's a different level of threat, because the stance tends to be a lot longer and you can really keep distance with your jab, nice and there. And then once you want that one quick punch, kind of like what we saw there, it's always an option. And if you're accustomed to fighting other orthodox fighters as an orthodox fighter, that your brain just gets accustomed to a certain type of angle. It gets accustomed to a certain type of position where the punch is getting thrown from. So when you have someone who fights southpaw, that fucking throws everything backwards. And then you've got that person that can fight southpaw that goes back into orthodox, and you're like, fuck. That mental game and being able to change positions is very, very, very underrated. And I guess for pros, it's kind of like a given that you have to be able to fight in both. But that takes a lot of time and a lot of repetition to get to that point.
Yeah. I've gone into a lot of fights, and me being a southpaw, a lot of fighters out there being orthodox. And you're in the fight, and it just happens naturally that both fighters are circling one way. But you'll get a guy that has a very good fight IQ, and they'll look to try and switch up the game plan and try and throw you off and try and make a lot of adjustments where it does go against your game plan. But you mentioned it before, southpaw versus southpaw is the most ugliest fight you ever see.
Oh,
I fucking hate it, man.
I hate it.
It is putrid.
It is horrible. So anyways, you were on your Hex debut. You get that knockout, you get that first win. It must have been just cloud nine, right?
I was over the moon.
Yeah.
It was good because coming off that amateur record, going 1 win, 4 losses, and then going straight into my pro career and getting that 1 win, it's like, fuck, I just needed that. And I thrived off it. I wanted more of it. I just wanted to get back in there.
Yeah, once you got that taste for blood, you've done it in front of a decent crowd, and you've got that one on your record. Like that's when it really becomes a drug.
And it was good because, I mean, it was a highlight knockout, and
Yeah.
it kind of went viral, right?
Yeah.
So it just made things even better, and I was just like, fuck, I just want to do that again. I was getting a lot of backlash from doing that because I jumped on him. People were like, oh, well, you shouldn't have jumped on him. He was already knocked out, this and that. But
There's the people that don't know fight
I
game.
don't know. I was like, I didn't give a fuck, man. Like, I told my coach at the weigh-ins, I was just standing there like normal, like, you know, just fucking shape up, this and that. But he got right in my face, like, and there's actually the photo there. You can see it on the Instagram.
Yeah, we'll find it.
And he got in my face, and then so after that, I walked back to Ash. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking knock this cunt out first round. And then it happened. And then my instinct kicked in straight away. I was like, just jump on him, just fucking get on top of him, just whack him.
Yeah.
Kill him. I don't know, kill instinct just goes in my mind.
Dude, the MMA game is so weird and so bizarre in that you can't afford to leave it up to chance. Just because you've knocked someone down doesn't mean that they're not getting back up. It's happened. It's happened. I mean, when you look at Ben Askren versus Robby Lara, Ben was out for 10 seconds. He was out. He was getting fucking whacked, ground and pound. Bah, bah, bah. Ben Askren was out, and he has this crazy resurrection, just comes back to life, and ends up tapping out fucking Robby Lara. Like, dude, that happens. You can't take chances in MMA. Just because your man is down doesn't mean that the fight's over. It's not over until the ref says it's over.
100%. Couldn't agree more. But yeah, that's a photo there. You can see it. That one right there.
Oh, the weigh-ins. Yep, let's
the
pull
weigh-in
that
photo.
up.
You go right in my face.
No, the next one over, Sion.
Don't show me that ugly photo. Fuck. That next one, yeah, that's it. You go right in my face. Because I stood there just, you know, fucking shape up. It's just a normal weigh-in photo, and he just went like, boom, right in my face. And I was like, fuck this cunt. And then I walked back to Ash straight after, and I'm just said, I'm going to knock this cunt out tomorrow, first round. And then, yeah, it just happened.
And so the story holds.
Fucking copped a lot of criticism.
How did you find the transition out of... What gym did you say you were at before ATT?
I was training at Darkside.
Darkside.
It was in Sydenham.
Okay. Because you're a city boy.
Yeah, well,
You're a city
technically, no, I'm a country boy.
Oh, you're a country boy.
I'm from Tweed Heads. No one knows that. Well, not many people do know that.
Yeah, I was going to say, where's Tweed Heads?
It's right up south of the Gold Coast on the New South Wales border.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But prior to myself living there, as a kid growing up, we used to move around a lot. So, but majority of my time I spent up in Tweed.
Yeah. Were you kind of like a farmer boy? Were you like a proper country boy?
No, not so much, because we're on the coast, right? So we're right on the beach and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the majority of my time, because Tweed's like, it's coast, country type of vibe.
That actually sounds kind of nice. I'm not going to lie.
It is nice.
It would be very like removed from civilization, but not so much that you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere.
Not these days. It's a very yuppity sort of area. Cost of living is getting more expensive for everyone up there, but same as here in Sydney. Fuck, it's getting expensive wherever you go.
So you were at Darkside MMA, and then you made that transition over to ATT. And how did you find like that gap between the two gyms? Because it goes without saying that ATT is one of the most prestigious and most well-known gyms in Australia. You know, definitely within Sydney, and you could definitely make a case for Australia. Like it's up there. It definitely competes. So how did you feel making that transition?
I was nervous at the start because, I mean, a lot of people don't venture outside their circle.
Yep.
And me living close to Darkside at the time, I was like, oh, it's convenient, it's easy for me to get to, accessible, blah, blah, blah. And then I was training there for a couple of years, and I had those few amateur fights. And then, as I said, I feel like there was so much more of me to give, but I'm not getting it. And I was like, you know what? I've got to go, because if I stay any longer, and look, no criticism to Darkside. They still do a good job.
Yeah,
they're still up and running, and they still train some of the most elite boxers and kickboxers. But MMA wise, I needed to go to a MMA gym.
Yeah,
right?
and look, I think a lot of gyms will have to kind of come to terms with that as well, is that there is a cap on how far they can take you.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
right. Yeah, so then I was like, I got to go. So I was venturing around for about maybe a couple of months, 5-6 months. I was going to jiu-jitsu gyms, and I was just doing my own thing, freelancing. And then I was like, you know what? ATT, I'm just going to go out there. It's only 35 minutes away. I'm just going to go out there. I'm going to have to make that sacrifice and traveling, blah, blah, blah. Started going out there, sparring 1 day a week. The boys loved having me there. And I was like, man, this is mad. I've got to make it 2 times a week. Just try and get as much training in as I can. Started getting the training in. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to commit full time. I don't care what I'm doing outside of training, with work, money, expenses, all that type of stuff. I'll find a way to make it. As long as I can commit training out here 5 days a week, let's do it.
Yeah. And the training sessions are so much different. They're so much more brutal. They're so much more intense. The sparring sessions are a lot more involved. You know, like Ash and Suman have really, and Alex, of course, have really developed like this culture of competition within the gym. Friendly competition, because everyone's, you know, brotherly at the end of the day, and everyone's very friendly. But it's very competitive as well.
And well, that's it. You want to be the best, you got to train with the elite.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what all them boys are. They're elite athletes.
Iron sharpens iron.
Facts.
Yeah, 100. So first pro fight, you win. You go on to have a very, you know, for the most part, professionally, a very successful career. You win the UFN title the first time. Get it taken away from you, unfortunately, and then you've gone to fight internationally. How was that?
Man, that was one of the best experiences I could honestly say I've been in the fight scene. Because I guess as a pro in the MMA world, all you want to do is fight. Get that. It doesn't matter what show it is. You just want to get that one international fight. And it doesn't matter where it is in the world, what show, whatever. I got the opportunity, and the opportunity was given to me 1 week out from the show. So Suman goes, I got you a fight. I'm like, boom, where is it? And he goes, Abu Dhabi. I'm like, holy can't, let's fucking go, baby. And this is like 1 week out from the fucking fight. Mind, and I'm thankful that I didn't have to cut weight for it, because we fought at welterweight, so I was a weight class heavier than lightweight. So we went to welterweight, which is good. I didn't have much cutting to do. We get there for we got there on Monday. We're there for a whole week. Honestly, the whole show, the promotion, just look after you. Not only that, Abu Dhabi, UAE is one of the most respectful countries to even, you know, be walking on. And just the whole experience was amazing.
They're very hospitable people.
Oh, man.
They really are. Like their culture is like, come into my home.
It was
let
crazy.
me feed you. Let me take care of you, and then that just expands out.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what fighting on one of their cards would have been like.
It just gives you a whole different aspect in your mind on how different countries operate.
Yeah.
Different parts of the world.
What was like the most noticeable thing for you, like fighting on one of their cards?
Not so much noticeable, but just the talent from all over the world. Because I think there was maybe 1 or 2 local fighters on that show. Everyone else was from all different parts of the world.
Or having the crazy experience that you're having.
Man, all over Europe, America, other parts of, I guess, those, what would you say? What did you call them? Like other parts of the, anyways. So
like the Arabian countries?
Yeah, that's it.
Right,
that's what I was trying to
the Middle Eastern countries.
Yeah, and it was just really cool. And I mean, look, I don't know where they get the money from, this and that, but they got a lot of money over there.
Oh, a lot of oil money, baby.
Freaky. So
a lot of oil money,
it's good to just get over there and just even perform on one of the most biggest shows in the Middle Eastern countries, and having the support of the Lebanese community there in UAE. I mean, they're massive there. And I was just getting, I don't know, a lot of people were just coming up and just taking photos. I felt like I was a star over there, but I I'm like a fucking nobody.
Yeah, but over there, man, it's different. They really respect it, and the fact that you are international and that you're fighting on their turf is like really important to them. You know, like I remember just being in Russia for a small period of time, and we went during the World Cup, and Russia obviously doesn't experience a lot of tourism from countries like South America or Australia or the United States because it's very isolated. And the fact that they had so many international people was so exciting for them and so refreshing for them, especially like these small little cities on the outskirts of Russia, you know, like Ekaterinburg, which is like no one's ever heard of in their fucking life. And suddenly they've got 500 Uruguayans, 500 Argentinians. They're like, what the fuck is going on? So people would stop you on the street and want to take photos with you.
That's mad.
Just because you were wearing a different shirt, you know? And it's like that, a little bit of taste of it. You're like, fuck, I'm just me, but these people are so appreciative to have me here that they want to stop and take a photo with me. Like, it's weird, you know? So I can imagine in your position, it would have been so much more heightened because you're not only do they appreciate the fact that you're there, but they appreciate the fact that you're a fighter and that you compete and that you have honor and that you have skill. And on top of that, that you win. I mean, you won that fight, man.
Yeah.
That must have been fucking mental.
Well, I was talking to Suman about it after the fight, and I was like, man, I couldn't imagine what it is losing in another country and then having a fucking 14-hour flight home just thinking about losing. It would be the most fucking shittest feeling.
Lonely flight.
Yeah, man. So obviously I'm glad I won. Stuck to the game. Oh, sorry. Stuck to the game plan. We did all the things right. We executed the game plan properly.
Do we have any footage of the fight? Like, is it on YouTube or anything?
Yeah, it actually is on YouTube.
Okay, let's pull it up. I want to see it.
I belted the fuck out of his leg. His leg went black.
Go Josh Togo.
You got to write in UAE Warriors 10.
UAE Warriors 10.
Yeah, it's like one word, but UAE. So I belted the fuck out of his leg. Warrior, WARR.
UAE Warriors and then 10.
And 10. Better write 10. And I think it's about 2 hours in. It's like one big card. Yeah, that's the one. You can go about maybe about 2 hours in.
It's alright.
We went to a decision anyways. But as I said, belted the fuck out.
I just want to get an idea of what this card was, and I wanted to see.
It was mad. It was amazing. Best experience. Yeah, that's it. Look, there it is right there.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's it. But go back maybe 15 minutes of it. Yeah.
Look at you go, kid.
Look at that. And that's the Lebanese community right there.
Damn.
And they all...
Is this you here?
Yeah, this is it.
Alright, full screen that, please, Sion. And if you can get rid of that little pop-up, that'd be great. Okay. So this is UAE Warriors 10, your first international fight up against Ali. Apologies, Ali, I can't say your last name. Dayusanov. Where was he from? Russia or something? Uzbekistan, right. Where, is that East European? Is that Middle Eastern? What is that?
Bro, I don't know where the fuck it is, but I think it's near Kazakhstan.
It's, you know what it is?
It's like, I think, it's somewhere around those countries. Look, I don't.
Whatever it is, it sounds scary.
It does, right?
I see that on my sheet. I'm like, oh no.
Fucking Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, fucking Russia. They literally produce some of the toughest fighters in the world.
God, the Russians right now?
So you can imagine what I was going. I was like, man, this guy's going to be tough. I knew it was going to be tough.
Yeah.
This guy was going to be, and he was strong.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, no. I don't know why. I was nervous. Everyone's nervous going to a fight. We're humans. You know, we have emotions. Our emotions always tend
There's
to
instincts
take over.
that kick in.
Of course, I was nervous. But maybe after the first... As soon as I'm walking out, I'm fine. That's every fight. I'm fine. I'm fucking owning the show. This is me. I'm here. I'm going to fucking do whatever I have to do to win, blah, blah, blah. I'm in there. I'm fighting him. And then just... everything just settles and then I can start taking control of everything. And then that's what I did for 15 minutes. You can hear everyone chanting in the back.
Yeah.
But that's the support of the Lebanese community over there.
Are you Lebanese?
Yeah, I'm half. My dad's Lebanese, so that was how I got the opportunity to fight over there.
That would have been really big.
Yeah, it was really good. That was the end of the round, I guess.
Can we just jump forward a little bit? Cause you really love those low leg kicks, don't you? You really enjoy those.
Yeah, man, I love it. It's
There you are, switching
put it
stances
this way.
again.
I mean, I don't care. I'll say it. But you take away the leg, you slow down the fighter.
Oh, absolutely.
You slow down the fighter, everything comes a lot more easier.
And
you see everything quicker.
I think you notice it so much more now with the rise of the low calf kick.
Yeah, I haven't even thrown a calf kick. I didn't even know those things existed until maybe a few months ago.
So what's going through your head here?
Just fucking pick. I see the leg. I know I know his leg is starting to give way. I know he's slowing down. I see that he was gassed because he's breathing heavy through his mouth. He's flat-footed. In my head, I'm just going pick shots high, low, set up the leg kick, sit in the outside, all those types of things. Make those angles, switch stance when I can, and just keep my range. See, I just kept picking that leg, just chop.
And that leg kick is so efficient as well in keeping him backed off. You know what I mean? You're inserting so much damage onto a person, but you're from a safe range. You know, you have a very low risk of getting caught with that leg kick.
Yeah, and the thing is, when there's a little question mark.
As I said,
Frill just snapped it up.
Yeah,
but it's not so much kicking hard. It's just kicking the leg over a certain. See, I just keep kicking. I would have thrown about maybe 8 leg kicks that round, right?
Yeah.
So you can imagine
then you caught him
towards
there.
the end of the round, his leg starting to give way and how much damage was actually going on. I mean, and this is not just this fight. I've thrown heaps of leg kicks in other fights.
It's very signature to your style. Absolutely.
And in my head, I'm like, man, I could finish fights with these leg kicks, but I don't. Because I'm not kicking hard. I'm slapping.
And you're looking for placement. You're looking to hit the same spot every single time.
Yeah. And that's what it comes down to as being a technical fighter.
Yeah.
I'm a technician. I like to be technical.
That inside leg kick was just so mean.
And I guess honestly, his leg was black.
Well, if I'm thinking from his position, right? He's fighting in an orthodox stance right now. He's fighting very heavy on that front foot. So the more pressure that gets put onto that front foot with the stronger the leg kick, you're just not going to be able to pull back as much as usual. So you're not going to have the same level of mobility.
Yep.
And not only that, you're going to start to disable that jab. That jab is going to be a lot less effective because that front foot is just fucking getting slapped.
That's right.
You know? And so as a fighter, you start thinking about that. You start thinking, fuck, I don't know if my jab's going to be the same and my leg's killing me and I can't move back and forward at the same way. It's what they're saying is going to be really important for Korean Zombie against Volkanovski is that front leg kick, which has become so signature for him, is his best bet at just disarming the movement.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that you apply that at such a high level and with such clinical expertise shows why you are competing on this world stage.
Yeah. And then, I mean...
You can pause the video now, Sian. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's not just so much the leg kicks as well. It's about... I'll think of it like this. You got their head, you got a body, and you got legs. People... I don't get it. People always like to take out the head looking for a knockout. Man, you got the whole body you can work with. If you take away the legs, take away their body, even throw... you don't even have to hit the head. You can set up feints from the head and set up the body, set up their kicks. The more you start attacking over the whole body, the more vulnerable they're going to get. Once they become vulnerable, their hands start dropping. Where do I defend? Do I defend here? Do I defend here? Do I check? What do I got to do against someone that's just keep picking me apart?
And that's so unique to MMA in that there's just so much more to think about as opposed to boxing or as opposed to just one style like karate or kung fu or jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai, is that you can give your opponent so much to think about and you can just beat them on that battle.
Yeah. And that's why I love MMA. And I grew up boxing. I love boxing, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, in boxing, it's a very boring sport. And don't get me wrong, I'm not taking that away from boxers. It's boring because when you're training for a fight, you're doing the same thing over and over and over again.
It's a lot of drilling.
You're not learning anything new.
Yeah.
I transitioned to MMA because I love learning and I love challenging myself. And I love the fact that there's a grading system in jiu-jitsu. You're forever learning with that.
Yeah.
Even in MMA, you're learning wall defense, wall attack. You're building more on your fight IQ. Things like that. There's so much more to learn because you're basically using all different types of martial arts into one. And that's what I love. I love challenges.
Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, I think as well on that jiu-jitsu note is that because the game is so wide and there's so much you can learn just in one branch of MMA, is that it's never done. It's never finished. You know, there's a whole generation of fighters coming up right now that are on the leading edge because they've grown up learning from, you know, the greats, the GSPs. They've come up learning from the Khabibs. They've come up learning from the Charles Oliveira's and just seeing that and seeing what's possible and then going, oh, okay, like if that's possible, what else can I do? So the game just continually evolves. Like, look, if you took a black belt jiu-jitsu artists from the 80s and put them up against a black belt from now, the guy that's competing now would obviously win if you took out age and weight and all of those factors and just purely skill level, because the game has gotten so much better.
And it's evolved big time.
And I think that's where boxing struggles. I still think there's a high level of creativity and a high level of thinking that's required in boxing. You see that in your Canelos, you see that in your Davises and your Ryan Garcias. Like, you know, there's still creativity and room for expressing yourself in a martial art, but it is limited.
Yep.
There's only so many types of punches that you can actually throw. You've got a jab, a cross, a hook, a check, an uppercut, and an overhand if you're feeling spicy. You know, then you've got body shots. But, like, it's limited. Your toolkit is reduced. So you're not going to see the same range of creativity that you would in MMA.
That's right. But don't get me wrong, like boxing, it's been around for centuries, and it's
Absolutely.
it's one of the greatest combat sports out there.
Oh,
and
of course.
As you said, like you get a lot of boxers that are just freaks by nature. You get a lot of they're just naturally gifted into the boxing world, and they pick up on it very quick.
Yeah.
I mean, look at we got international fighters like the Lomas. Man, like he's got some of the best footwork in the planet in the boxing world, right? But yeah, as you're saying, it's just you're so limited, but you can still excel. But for me, in the MMA game, I love it. I love the fact, and in jiu-jitsu as well. I mean, there's so much to learn in that game.
Yeah.
So much. It's forever learning.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm waiting for myself. I've been doing it for years. Like, and this is the funny thing. A lot of all my fights, I guess, I've always kept it on the feet. I haven't even been on the ground to even show my jiu-jitsu game.
You've never shot?
Never shot. Not yet. Not yet. It's bound to happen. Not one. Oh, actually, sorry. One fight I had. It was just based more wrestling based. Just basically fucked him for fucking 3 rounds. And that was back in 2018 on Gladiators MMA in Sydney. But all my other fights has always been on the feet. I'm yet to show my ground game. It's bound to come. It's going to happen. Yeah. But the shit thing about it is that when it's come to the ground, and my losses mainly were from submissions. I've had 2 losses from submissions, which sucks because, first of all, you don't want to lose. Second of all, it was in the jiu-jitsu, but I haven't yet been able to show my skills on the ground. I want to.
If anything, they've used the ground game against you.
Yeah, but they didn't take me down.
Right.
I took them down.
Right.
It's fucking weird, right? A striker taking fucking ground grapplers to the ground.
Yeah. That's ballsy.
No, I always think about it like this as well.
That's ballsy.
It is. I think about it like this as well. I don't think last time I've been taken down in a fight. Actually, sorry. UAE Warriors. Ali took me down in the first.
Oh, the fight we were just watching.
Yeah. He took me down the first. I think it was 30 seconds off the cage, but he only took me down for about 10, 15 seconds. And then I got straight back up, and then that was it. But prior to that fight, the last time I've been taken down was 2018, I think, when I fought on Diamondback in Adelaide. And I fought, what's his name? Dan Curry. Dan Curry took me down. But majority of my fights, I haven't been taken down.
Well, I think you're just so proficient on your feet and you're so proficient as a striker that it just makes sense to placate to those strengths.
But the thing is, I want to showcase my wrestling ability and I want to showcase my jiu-jitsu
How often
ability.
are you rolling?
Fucking every time I'm in the gym.
Really?
Oh, not every time, but I'm rolling every time I'm there at the gym. I'm there in majority of the classes, in the wrestling classes, in the jiu-jitsu classes. And mind you, we're grappling against with some of the best, some of the most elite in New South Wales, let alone Australia. So it is a tough competition. And I mean, COVID really sort of paused on a lot of competition because I do want to compete in a lot of jiu-jitsu comps. But prior to COVID, I did compete in a few jiu-jitsu comps.
So, I think that kind of leads nicely into my next question is that after the UAE Warriors, I noticed that you kind of stuck around the Sydney and, the Australia scene rather, because you tend to move between Eternal, UFN and Hex at times. Was the decision not to go back to the UAE one that you chose directly, or was that one imposed on you by COVID?
COVID fucked everything.
Yeah.
Suman told me, come up to me, he goes, we got a couple of opportunities, UAE again, a couple of months after that UAE Warriors show. Then COVID, because I fought on UAE Warriors back in 2020. In January.
Yep.
And then March, I think 2 months later, in March, that's when COVID started coming into effect, restrictions, lockdowns, all that bullshit. And it really paused the whole fight scene for not just myself, but everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ruined everything. And it's not just people's fight careers, but it sucks because people really want to fight. This is their life. This is their career.
That's
they
what
don't
they're
get to do that.
committed to.
But, they can bring out footy a couple of months later and AFL and all that stuff. And other sports are allowed to be televised and people can go back to playing their sports. But why not fighting?
Dude, at one point in time, there was lockdowns as to you couldn't leave like 20 kilometers of your house, but you could have like 60,000 people in a fucking stadium for an AFL game. It was a fucking joke.
Mate, I don't want to get into all this political talk, but I think we all know it's fucking bullshit, right?
It was a joke.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
But
you know what? You can't have a local MMA show or a local boxing show because it's too risky and it's unsafe for everyone and all this bullshit. Like,
just imagine the logic of that, man. Like, imagine actually having to try and defend those decisions, because we all know that associations like the NRL or the AFL are very highly tied into the Australian media scene, and there's a reason why they get so much airtime on the news. There's a reason why they get all these exemptions. There's a reason why, because they're very tied into the media. They're very tied into politics. They've got a lot of pull and connection in those directions. Yep. So when everyone's kind of like jumping to get live entertainment back or live competition back, of course they're going to get first pick because they've got that pull.
Yeah.
But it wasn't based on health decisions.
Yeah.
It wasn't based on can we do this safely or effectively. It was purely based on, okay, who are we friends with? Who are we gonna let up open first? And you saw a lot of that, not just in sport, but across the board.
Yep.
There's a lot of industries that were just left untouched by COVID.
And it fucking sucks because back to the fight scene with a lot of people's a lot of people's careers and lives so tied up into fighting. For me, it took away maybe 6 to 8 fights in the space of 2 years due to COVID.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? That's a lot of fights. And knowing who knows what could have happened within those 2 years, right? And it's just bullshit because people do this. This is people's lives you're fucking with.
Mm-hmm. And the most frustrating part for your match is that you had momentum. That's a big one for fighting. You had momentum on your side. Like, if you could have booked, and I hate to like play this hindsight game, you know, like if you would have, should have, could have, like, but if you could have booked another fight in the UAE and gone on to win that fight, like that could have really propelled into something.
That's right.
You know, and that's not to say you can't do it now, that it's still not possible.
Yeah.
You know, I think having that taste of what it's like would have just meant so much to you that now you look at the fight game differently with so much more drive and purpose. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, of course, man. Like the motivation and the drive is always going to be there.
Yeah.
I love this shit. I won't stop it for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, as I was saying, it just really does suck because, you know, those 2 years, who knows what could have happened. And then, as you said, that momentum. I mean, I was on a 5-fight winning streak, and then COVID restrictions happen, and then can't fight for a whole year.
Yeah.
And that's honestly 12 months. You've just haven't been active, can't train. Gyms were closed. All that type of bullshit. So, and that's just not me. That's a lot of people in the fight game. It sucks. It really did suck. But
the prospect of that, bro, like, this is a health crisis and you can't go and work out.
Doesn't make sense, eh? Where's the logic in that? Right? Oh, yeah. But, and you know what? And everyone knows. Oh, yeah, fucking... They don't tell you this shit in the news. Oh, yeah, go train, go get some sun, eat healthy, nutrition's key, all this type of stuff about helping you build your immunity. Oh, no, get the jab, fucking isolate from people, hide in your homes. That's what's going to keep you safe. And people believe that shit.
Dude, like, you know what?
Dead.
Here's the thing, right? As a news source and as a organization that's required to distribute information to the world, there is a high level of respect put onto you, and you need to provide the facts and be authentic. Do you know what I mean? So when you start getting caught out in all these little lies that just kind of compounded over, you're just going to erode the trust of your audience, you know?
Yep.
So you could definitely make a case that being vaccinated is actually a far more effective way of combating COVID than not being vaccinated. You could make that case. There's a lot of scientific information to back that. But because you've eroded the trust of your audience for so long and you've been on this fucking fear train for the past 2 years, you're going to lose a lot of people along the way. And of course, you're going to have mistrust. And when people have mistrust of the media, they're going to look for other ways to find information. And what are they finding? Well, okay, hang on. Yeah, vaccination might work, but you might also benefit from getting vitamin D. You might benefit from exercising and being healthy and socializing. You know, there's other ways to combat this thing. And I don't think it has to be exclusively one or the other. It can be both.
Yeah. Well, I've had COVID.
You had it?
I had it. And I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not going to sit there and say go against anything about vaccinations, this and that. But I've had COVID and it was the most terrible feeling because I couldn't taste anything. My nose was blocked and stuffy. You know, everything that you can think of unimaginable is what happened. And the fact that I had to sit inside and hide away for 14 days. It was shit feeling. But all I wanted to do was just I know that we had to isolate and this and stuff, but all I wanted to do was just go sit in the sun because I couldn't. I live in like a 1-bedroom apartment. If I had a house with a backyard, yeah, fuck, I'll give me COVID every day of the week. I don't give a fuck. But a 1-bedroom apartment, fuck me dead. It's the worst feeling in the world. It's like, you're stuck. You can't do nothing. You can't go anywhere. And you just honestly just, leading to a lot of mental health issues. Thankfully for myself, in the fight game, we built a lot of discipline in our heads. We know how to stay strong mentally. But I could imagine how sufferable it would have been for a lot of people that isolate themselves and can't overcome hurdles like this.
For sure. I mean, dude, I think that discipline one is so important because when you're a fighter, you have to push your body to the limits where it wants to quit. It's not normal to get a full force shin to your ribs. That's not normal.
Well, that's it. 100% it isn't. It isn't normal.
And fighters do that at repetition for hours on end just to condition their body. So you have to peel away at every single instinct that makes you want to quit and makes you want to stop and makes you want to hide from the pain. You have to go straight into that fire to become a fighter. And that's why I hold fighters at such high regard. That's why when these Instagram people come out with themselves hitting pads or, giving these crappy, F45 style classes, it's like you are pretending to be this, but this isn't you. This isn't who you really are.
It's people just chasing clout these days.
Because it's cool to say you're a fighter.
Look, it's funny because what you're saying is so true. And man, I've scrolled on people's pages and their sponsored pages, and they're like, oh, it just looks good. And you go on their page like, this guy hasn't fucking jumped in a cage or a ring before. He's never fought before.
Yeah,
it's just all for show.
Yeah,
and I mean, it's just all clout chasing.
Have you seen those guys that do like the bullshit chi and shit like that? Like,
what's that?
It's like these different styles of like martial arts, let's call it, where it's all focusing on like releasing out your energy and holding certain parts of the body, and you get these people like with really dramatic reactions, like they're just falling to the ground. And
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, it's like these bullshit martial arts. Let's see if we can find it.
Can we pull it up? I want to have a look.
Yeah, I don't know how we would find this.
Oh, that's fucking funny.
Just do fake martial arts videos, because these are fucking hilarious, man. And you talk to these people and they're kind of like, oh no, it's real. Like they're full bought into it. It's like, okay, well, like. Give them Josh Togo and show me how they do it.
You can convince to anyone that anything's real and they'll believe it. Just like COVID and vaccinations. People believe all that. Oh, look. Let's not get back down there.
Yeah.
Anyways. But, yeah, in saying with the whole people with the sponsored pages and their training and they're looking cool, you know what? If people buy into that shit and it helps them for their health benefits, let them sell it to them. If it's going to change someone's life, and go, you know what, I might do this because I might get healthy out of it and I might get fit out of it. That. Go for it. Yeah,
look, there's a thing, right? Like you can go and box and you can go and hit pads and you can go and just hit the bag and enjoy it and and just do it for fitness. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If anything, I can encourage it. Like a good bag workout with, just a little bit of good technique to make sure that you're not hurting yourself is actually really beneficial for people. Like there's even just at a surface level, you're getting rid of anger, you're getting rid of tension, you're getting rid of, all those kinds of emotions. Like we're biologically built to hunt and to stick in small tribes, and we're stuck with these primal bodies and instincts, but we're in this new society where you're never short on food and you're never short on.
That's right.
You're never short on shelter or anything like that. So we still have these primal needs for things like violence that still exists, but we don't live in a society that accepts that. So if you can just go and for 45 minutes hit a bag and just let that energy out, like the way you feel afterwards is so different. It is so different.
Satisfying.
Very much so.
Good feeling.
I encourage anyone who's like, tense up, all caught up in anger or stress, especially, just go hit a bag. Go do it.
And the funny thing is people, what people see based around MMA and UFC and stuff, they only see what the media will show you. And it looks brutal, it's violence, it's blood and dangerous and this and that. But those same people, they don't see the backhand side of things with what the fighters do to be put in that position.
Yeah.
So they don't see the discipline, they don't see the routine, they don't see the nutrition, they don't see the calorie deficits, they don't see the hard work that's put in. All these types of different angles that they're not seeing is sad, because this is what fight. And don't get me wrong, it's good that they're not seeing this, but they're only seeing what they're seeing in the media. But once they put themselves in a position and they go into a fight gym or any type of gym, mainly fight gym, they go into a fight gym, they're like, wow, what the fuck is this? Look at these people training.
Well, it's so much different than what you expect, because you'd expect a fight gym to be full of like these really violent,
egotistical warriors.
Yeah, or criminals in a way, like that's often an association made. And then you go in there and you're like, oh no, these are like the coolest people to hang out with.
Honestly.
Like dead ass.
We're just a bunch of drop kicks. Honestly. We are, but we're just a bunch of fucking drop kicks that just know how to fight.
I don't know if I'd call you a drop
and
kick.
fucking want to perform on the world stage.
So, hang on, let's see one of these videos, because they are fucking funny. 10 fake masters officially getting destroyed by real fighters. Let's play that. This isn't exactly what the third video. This isn't exactly what I was talking about, but yeah. Now, my headphones, I don't know if I'm going to get volume. If you want volume, just put your headphones on.
Yeah, you're sweet. Do you... Oh.
Yeah, no, go for
We're
it.
still live? Oh.
Yeah, but it's fine.
Do you cut and edit it, eh?
A little bit if I have to.
Oh, okay.
Very, keep it minimal.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty cool. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, I try and just keep it nuanced as possible. Can you give me some volume in this, Jan? Okay. And just play that video.
Is the volume on this side?
Yeah. Just jump to like roughly the middle, just something so we can see it. Just cut to the middle, Sion.
In the first round, the fighter just tries to dodge his attacks, but as soon as he realizes he jumps.
You can just tell by his stance that he's got no idea.
What about the ones where the
Oh my god, he's just getting fucking... Oh my god!
He was not even embarrassed in front of his students, but also had to give the MMA fighter a large sum.
He's just throwing these lethal fucking elbows and shots.
Here we have another trickster trying to be awesome and cool in front of his students. He went to an MMA gym and challenged Morrison Butler, an MMA fighter. As the match
That's right. Like, that's the thing you don't want to come up against, right? As one of these bullshit artists. You do not want to come up against an MMA fighter. Like, just look at the physical difference, man. Oh my god, he's got him in full mount, ground and pound. No, this is not good.
Wow. Yeah.
Thank you, Sian. Thank you.
Have you seen those ones where the I don't know, let's just break it down. He basically, the guy's standing a meter away and he like pushes the air towards him and he falls over.
Oh no,
Some shit like
shut up. Are you serious?
I'm being serious.
Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing. People believe it. People think it's real. People think he has pushes all these types of energy towards him and the guy falls over or
Yeah.
gets hurt some way, however it's done. But there's people that out there that think that shit is real.
Yeah. It's there's enough crazy people in the world that if you just catch them at the right time, you can start a cult.
You know what? Yeah.
I mean,
The world's full of a lot of crazies.
Yeah, and there's a lot of naivety in people who aren't aware. you know, but there kind of comes a point where, why is my sensei pushing the air?
You know what? Come into an MMA gym and learn
100%.
how to properly fight. Learn
If that's
how
what you want to
defend
do, and I
yourself.
think everyone should do it, I think it should be part of the school system. I think it should be part of the school curriculum. You would know more than anyone how impactful fighting and fight gyms can actually be on troubled youth.
Yeah.
Because that's an area of expertise of yours.
So we were talking about this, off air. So I work as a mentor.
You're right.
In the community in Redfern. So we work with the in troubled Indigenous youth in Redfern, and the families as well. And we're just basically teaching them how to upskill themselves, building leadership qualities. Myself coming from a lived experience, coming from a lot of traumatic upbringing, background, being based around drugs, alcohol, crime, DVs.
Really?
Seen it all. I remember at the start of the show, I told you I used to move around a lot. Right?
Yeah.
So that was a part of my childhood growing up, based on a lot of those things I was talking.
Were you ever in like physical danger?
Yeah. Definitely. It's times and I don't want to get into too much depth.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
But yeah, it was a very bad upbringing for myself and my younger brother at the time. Hence why when I was about 10, 11 years old, I started living with my aunt up at Tweedheads. And I basically grew up with her from then up until about I was 18, 19 and moved
That's
back
a
down
lot
to
to take on as an 11-year-old.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, you're a lot more mature because of all the shit you've been through. So having that lived experience, being able to pass on a lot of these qualities and the knowledge that I can work with the kids I work with now in Redfern. Indigenous, non-Indigenous. So it's such an amazing and rewarding job because these young kids do such an amazing job now, and they just they're excelling. Our people are excelling. They're back in the let's say 30 years ago, we had people that weren't getting their Year 10 certificates or even going to Year 12. It was just dropping out of school. Just a lot of shame and just didn't want to associate with a lot of other. I'll get in the term. But didn't want to associate with the Western world. But now we've got people that are finishing Year 10, finishing Year 12, finishing university, getting their degrees. In the sporting excellence, doing big things, right?
That is such a huge shift.
Massive.
Even with no disrespect, even if you're doing that at a small scale, even if it's only 5, 10, 15, 20 people, like that is huge shifts in lives. And that's not necessarily to say that you have to go to university to live a good life, but the chances of you succeeding in life and doing better you've got so much more framework once you've completed that education and once you've got your credentials behind you. Like you're really changing people's lives. That's not something to take lightly.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's I love it. It's good to see. We every Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning we run a boxing program, and that's done at 6 a.m. in the morning. And between 5 and 6, we go out and pick up these kids from their homes. We bring them to the local gym, and we do boxing between 6 and 7. And it's not hard boxing. It's just more about routine. It's about discipline, engagement, and resilience. These are the important values that if these kids can do this 3 days a week, imagine what they can achieve long term in the real world.
Yeah. And I guess people may not appreciate how hard it is actually for them to get there.
How many kids do you see waking up at 5 a.m. to come boxing? Exactly. So that's one of the key assets to a lot of the kids that we're working with to generate these important values and let that sink into them, into their lives, because we're not going to be around forever, because they're the leaders of the future. So we got to train them up and bring them up to our level, so their leadership qualities can take over what we gave them, and then they're teaching the next generation coming through.
Yeah. How do you process their situations? Because I can imagine, considering that you are someone that is, for the most part, quite empathetic and quite caring towards other people, otherwise you wouldn't be in the line of work that you are, right? Considering that you are so empathetic and caring, do you find yourself taking on board some of the stuff that they're going through emotionally? Like, do you take work home with you?
Yes and no. Reason why is because I guess coming from a lived experience, I know how to sort of overcome these barriers and not let it sink in mentally, and not let it affect me. But knowing and having the right skill set to not let it absorb into your body, but at the same time, when there is someone doing it tough, it does affect you, and you don't want it to absorb too much and take away a lot of those things from work. You don't want it to take over, I guess, because if it does, it will take away a lot of energy out of you.
Yeah, like my girlfriend works in support work, right? And so she helps a lot of people that have disabilities or in aged care or just need additional assistance, right? And she's a very caring and empathetic person, but I do notice that sometimes that work comes home because this situation has arisen and it's not in her client's best interest, but you know that once your shift ends, like that's kind of like your duty of care taken care of, and so your mind just naturally starts thinking about the day and what could happen, and it's just a big emotional toll, a job like that. I think that's kind of what it's coming down to, is that you have to have such a high level of resilience, and that's why I respect so much the work that you does, the work that she does, the work that people in those kinds of roles, because they're so important for disenfranchised youth. They're so important for keeping people with just opportunity and the idea of hope. That is so important. We don't know how many people listening to this conversation right now might just need like a whimmer of hope, just a chance, and that's not to say this is some huge fucking net that we're casting here, but it's so much more common than what we think.
Yeah, 100%. It's crazy because, I'm in this line of work, right? And we don't change a lot. We stick to a structure, and that structure is based around the routine and discipline, all these other values, and we got to make sure that we're relaying that same message and just keep evolving from that and helping the people in the communities, in our community, and I'm guaranteed there's other people doing it in their community. And the more you get the community buy-in from the families, from the services around in the community, imagine the positive impact it would make in the young ones. And make a lot of difference, make a lot of changes.
Imagine if you could find a kid who's involved in like some form of gang activity or involved in drugs or involved in domestic violence, and you can take them to a place like Australian Top Team where immediately they've got family.
So I've actually taken a couple of boys out to the Top Team gym before. But that's the difference of them actually committing to something and not committing to it either, because I've brought them out there and they didn't even last one day. They never came back. But that's just because of the lot of emotional stress.
Yeah, and probably a lack of self-value as well.
That too, because you've been to Top Team, you know what it's like, and these boys, they're training hard. 6 days a week, doing 2-3 hour sessions. I mean, some of the kids and the teenagers I work with, it's hard for them to sort of absorb that and really see any kind of value in that.
Do you see gaps in the system right now? And I use the system very broadly, but do you
Massively.
see? Yeah.
I don't want to get into that, but massively big gaps.
Well, what do you think we can do to reduce those gaps? Like, well, if I gave you the keys to Parliament and you're in charge now, what would you want to be seen done?
Look, there's a lot of things. I don't want to get too political about it. There's a lot of things that can be done. There's a lot of changes that can be done for Indigenous and non-Indigenous. I mean, look what's happening now in the world. Not in the world, in Australia. Look what's happening now. I mean, do you think that what's happening now, do you think that's going to make any changes to my people? I mean, look, with everything that's happening now, the new budgets that are coming out, even these vaccinations, everything that's happening now, do you think that's going to even make any kind of changes to my people in my community? I mean, there's a lot of things that can be done. There's a lot of changes that can be done. And we're on that trajectory. It's coming.
Yeah, but for the most part, from what I see, is that it doesn't, and that's not to say the government leaves everyone high and dry, but I feel like there's a lot of initiative that needs to be taken on board by community leaders, people like you, people that work in the industries that you work in, is because there just is such high levels of, sorry, I'm not sure how to phrase this properly. I'd say that some people are born into such inherent disadvantage that it takes someone such as yourself, like a community leader, just to make sure that they have a shot. Yeah. That they have a fucking shot. And that's when it becomes the role of the government to actually lift those people up and provide them with more opportunity and make sure that they have good housing and they make sure that they're safe and make sure that they're secure. You know, and that's why when people talk about things like dole bludgers or people that just live off Centrelink and stuff like that, it's like, hold up. Like, no one, well, I don't want to say no one, but most people don't choose to be in that situation. Most people choose, if you left it up to them, they'd want to be successful in doing something great. So, you know, you have to kind of be respectful as well of the fact that, you know, these people need the help and there should be opportunities and there should be pathways in which they can get that. I think we're so blessed to live in Australia, in a country where you can, if you need it, you can get the help. There are people such as yourself that will help you, that will take you to the gym, that will give a fuck, because it's not like that everywhere.
Yeah. So look, in that sense, it's just about, I guess, listening to our people, acknowledging our people, just listening to some of the stories, because, I mean, I don't want to get into it because there is a lot of debates about it and stuff, but look, my people have been built up around generational trauma. So from early colonial times up until now, and that was only 250 years ago, which is not a long time ago. So that generational trauma, through mass genocide, through murder, through rape, through a lot of those things, a lot of our uncles, a lot of our grandfathers have built up this generational trauma, and it's been passed down. And it's been affecting a lot of families.
Well, it affects your perspective. It affects your perspective as well, right?
But, and you mentioned it before, like dole bludgers and Centrelink and housing and this and that. That's what the media will show you, but they won't show you any success stories that are happening in communities. And that's what I wanted to try and get out there. Is imagine if people outside communities actually came into an Aboriginal community and seen a lot of the programs that are running and seen a lot of the success stories that are happening. They don't hear about that because all they see on the media is drunks and alcoholics and drug addicts and Centrelink and housing and this and that. it's all negative, right?
Mm.
You don't hear about the positives. And that's what, like, in my mind, that's what I feel is what maybe the media want to show. They don't want to show our people doing well. Maybe they do. I'm not too sure. But
I
that's what I
don't
say. I don't think that. I don't want to get too political, but that's what they show.
Look, if you really want to go political, we can go there, but
Let's not go there. But what I'm trying to say is there's more success stories than there is negative stories.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, and I think there needs to be a notion of positive reinforcement, and let's bring to light the good stories. Let's bring to light the people, again, such as yourself, and not to gloat you or anything like that, but, you know, I really respect the work that you're doing. I think it's really fucking important.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think if you can bring those stories to light, it just inspires people to put things into perspective and go like, that breakup, as much as it hurt me in the scheme of things, isn't going to be the end of the world. But on top of that, empower people that are actually in really tough situations to know that those pathways exist.
100%.
Let's switch this back a bit to the martial arts side again.
We get carried away. Look, I don't mind. I love having these yarns.
Yeah,
anyways.
no, this is great. While we were on the topic of discipline and martial arts, I was watching this documentary yesterday. I think it was on Foxtel, but I'm not 100% sure of
SBS.
Was it on SBS? Yep. You know which one I'm talking about, right? It was these shots from space of just different parts of the world, right? And they just showed like how much of an impact having satellite technology has really changed the way we see the world. We're discovering new species, new animals, and what they were able to actually do is get satellite footage of over China. And in China, in this certain, I'm going to have to look at my notes here for a second, so forgive me, but there's a certain region of China where they practice Kung Fu from the age of 13. And they're there at 6 days a week, 8 hours a day, from the age of 13. And it's intense Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Like real fucking shit. Not the, you know, stuff we see Dwayne The Rock Johnson doing, nothing like that. Like, this is real fucking Kung Fu. They're all in red uniforms, all in perfect synchronicity.
I could imagine.
And you just go, wow, like they get to learn that from the age of 13. I mean, look, here's one of the photos.
What's the reason behind that? Is obviously
it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't. Yeah.
This is like their version of school. Is this it? Look, watch this, man. I mean, wow, right?
That is freaky. That is beyond amazing. That is really cool. I want to be stoned and watch that. Don't you reckon they'd look mad?
Oh,
Just
dude.
like all fucking trippy and that.
Seeing all these
That's
disciplined people, and you're just like, fuck, I'm going to get stoned to that. That would be hectic.
But you know what? How cool is that? You know why? Because it gave them a purpose to do something. And not just for themselves, but for their people.
Yeah. You know, and
I don't know what it is. Maybe that's part of their curriculum or whatever they
it's
have
part
to
of
do.
their school, yeah. And I think
yeah.
it's a way of instilling ideologies of discipline and respect. Like, you know, we look at China in particular through a Western lens, and we look at it like they're this communist regime that is trying to, you know, that oppresses its people in this very systematic way, and they've got no free will. But when you go over to China and you have the conversations with them, and I haven't done that personally, but I listen to a lot of people that speak out of China. They're like, no, you don't get it. The culture here is just different. There's a lot more respect, and there's a lot more those morals and those values are just instilled with us from a very young age, and it's through programs like that, you know, and that is such a cultural thing. They've probably had that practice for hundreds of years, you know, from the age of 13 years old to go and do that, and then do that for so long and get so good at it. And then it would just take so much of the bullshit and the angst of growing up at that age and being a 13-year-old and trying to figure yourself out. And it's like there's this routine, there's this discipline. It's like you were talking about before with the kids that you work with. It's that there's a structure to their life and they must follow that structure. You know, there's freedom in discipline and there's freedom in doing things that you don't want to do.
It gives people a purpose. As you said, it gives them a purpose. It builds structure. It builds routine. That discipline at a very early age too. And if you can instill that at a young age, man, you're gonna accomplish anything later on in life.
You could be the lightweight champion of the UFN.
Could be.
Could be. Well, not right now because you've got that spot.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah. Well, we're looking to defend it. Hopefully soon.
So let's go back to your title, right? You've beaten Robby Lara. You've reclaimed your title. How's it feel to have the strap?
No, it feels good. It feels good to even just get back on UFN. I said it to a couple of boys after. I was like, man, it's so good to just get back on UFN and fight in front of in Sydney. I haven't fought in Sydney in fucking a few years prior to that last show. So it's just I mean, it's just good to fight in front of Sydney, in front of friends and family, and that was more what I was more happy about, just getting to fight in fucking Sydney, because all my fights have been interstate or international, majority of them. Like I'm 10-4.
Yep.
Right, 14 pro fights, 15 to be exact, with one no contest. I've only ever fought 4 times in Sydney. Every other fight has been interstate or international. So the opportunity to fight in Sydney, where I don't have to go away, don't have to travel, don't have to pack, don't have to stress about cutting weight, don't have to worry about all that shit, gets thrown out the window, and I can just focus on training, focus on cutting weight. That's it. Get to the fight venue, fight.
Even just cutting weight interstate must be tough, right?
Oh, it's a headache, because you gotta go on your phone. You gotta find out where the gym is, where the saunas are, how close.
You're traveling, like you're flying, and you're cutting weight. Like that must suck.
Oh.
You can't drink water, and you're on a plane. Like traveling, flying alone sucks.
Especially, I mean, I fought in Perth, and they're 4 hours behind, right? So you gotta wait another 4 hours to the weigh-ins.
Oh no! Oh no!
I mean, like people are like, oh, it's only 4 hours, but when you're cutting weight,
4 hours is a long time.
It's a long time. So
4 hours is a long time if you're cutting weight.
So it does suck in that sense, but yeah, it's just so good just to fight back in Sydney.
Yeah.
One thing I don't like is the pressure of having friends and family around, but I like, and it's kind of weird, this is my mentality, but I'll actually like fighting interstate or away because there's no pressure around me.
We just spent like 5 minutes talking about how much it sucks, but
I don't like the traveling sense.
Yeah.
But I do like just being local.
Yeah, I get it. There's pros and cons to either way. Do you know what I mean? And if you do end up becoming an internationally acclaimed fighter, which I'm sure you've got ambitions to do, right? Like, and there's definitely still ambitions with you to hit the UFC level.
Yeah, UFC, Bellator, 1FC, PFL. Man, fuck, I'm ready. Give me a contract to sign. I'll sign it straight away. I ain't afraid to fight anyone.
Yeah,
and it goes to show in my resume. And I was just talking about it before. I fought 4 times in Sydney. The rest of my fights have been interstate, international. I ain't no coward. I'll fight anyone. I mean, a lot of these protected species fight only in their hometowns. They won't go anywhere. And come to Sydney and fight. I need more fucking competition here in Sydney. I mean, it's not a call out. It's just put where your fucking balls at. Start going outside of your comfort zone. Fight interstate. And fucking grow a set. Simple as that. So, yeah, for myself, I mean, my resume shows it. My interstate fights.
Do you think you're the best
fights,
in your weight division?
Fucking oath I am.
Yeah.
100%. I do. Fucking oath I do. I think I can take out anyone in my weight division in Australia and New Zealand.
Strong
love to.
fucking words.
I want to compete. I want to test myself in the rest of the world. But can't do that when people are too protected and don't fucking want to travel to Sydney to fight on UFN. Or let's just fight in our own backyard, this and that. Man, fuck, I don't give a fuck. I'll come fight you in your own backyard.
Anytime, any place.
It's not even about any time or any place. It's just about me fucking growing a set and I'll fucking come to you. I've done that numerous times. I've fought in other people's backyards. I've been booed. But you know what? I thrive with that. I love that.
Yeah.
I'd love to beat you in front
I
of your
saw
own fucking
you.
family.
I watched you fight on an Eternal card. I wish I could remember the fight.
Martinez.
Yes. It was one of the early Eternals.
It's either going Marcus McKeever.
I think it was McKeever.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting watching, the crowd's reaction to you and how unfazed you were.
Oh, fuck, they hated me. I got booed. That was in WA. I got booed.
Yeah, that's right. It was in WA. Yeah.
And everything. But you know what? Fucking beating someone in their own backyard.
How
satisfying.
good did it feel?
100% it felt good.
Like to turn those boos into like, fuck.
Yeah. Sucks for them.
Yeah.
But it's good for me.
I bet.
But it does suck if you do lose.
I want to pull up your Urban fight because Urban have, in my opinion, the best promotion in Sydney. And I think they contend with a lot of the guys in the other states. I think, they're putting on these exceptional productions and they're putting on these great fights and they're giving so many opportunities for both amateurs and pros to not only get fights, but put them on the world stage, get them on UFC fight passes, get them on Fox, treat them with the professionalism they deserve. 100%. I think Urban deserves a lot of props for that.
And coming from how they were in the early days up until now, wow, a lot of changes.
Yeah.
And it's fucking excelled.
Well, you were there. You were on UFN too.
Yeah. It was really, and just as I was saying, it's made a lot of progressive changes. So it's really cool to see.
I want to get your reaction to this fight.
I mean, the exact he's fighting.
No, this is his fight.
Let's go, Robby Lara, and he's been around same like me and him have been around the same time.
And big shout out to Robby Lara because he took this fight on last minute and he was outside of his weight division, right?
Well, he was supposed to be fighting someone else on this show.
Yeah.
And then the other person pulled out for medical reasons.
Right, I apologize. So his opponent changed at the last minute.
Getting prepared for this fight. I only was given 3 weeks notice.
Okay, so credits to you then.
But he came up a weight division because he's normally a featherweight. And I went, obviously I fight at lightweight. So there we are, 3 weeks later on UFN.
Immediately I can see there's a big range difference. You clearly have the dominance in that sense.
Well, UFN is a bigger cage.
Yeah.
I notice. And it gives me more range to move around, I guess.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's just a feeling out process. Always is in the first minute. Robby's a good fighter. He's been, as I said...
Do you want to just kill the volume, Jan?
He's been around just as long as I have.
Yeah.
I've just been more active.
Yeah, I think...
There's those leg kicks again.
Yeah.
But you know the funny thing is with those leg kicks? And I was talking to my coach about it. He goes, it's not... He goes, it's so hard when someone's in front of you because you do it so fast.
Yeah.
And they're not hard. They're just fast. And they're hard to read when they're coming.
They're annoying, if anything. They're really getting your fucking head. So right now, you guys are both just feeling each other out, weighing up. You're obviously really taking care of that right hand, just making sure he can't do anything with it. I like how you're pushing his jab just across his body so he can't really unleash. Yeah, when did you feel like you really started to pick apart his game?
It wasn't so much picking apart his game. It was just more about just sticking to my game, really. I don't care about other people's game plans. I've never been about that. I'm just, as long as I stick to my game plan. And
nice overhand
I'm not going to
there.
tell people what my game plan is because they probably already figured it out, but My game plan is the same as every other fucking fight almost. But as long as I stick to it, do the basics, my fundamentals, it happens. And look what happened.
Oof, big nice overhand there, and you just caught him on that ground and pound, and that's
He was
it.
already out from that overhand. I think his
That's
body
game
just
over.
subconsciously reacted to scooting back.
Yeah.
Um,
Can you?
'Cause I hit
Is it
him.
possible to get a rewind on that, Sian? Just go click back very lightly because this is a big video. You were saying?
I hit him, and then I seen his eyes kind of rolled.
Yeah.
And so I kind of knew he was out. But I think when I come over the top with the ground and pound, there was like one or two sort of short lefts sort of finished the job.
Well, like we said before, you don't want to leave it to chance. You want to make sure that the job is done until the ref.
I think there's a bit of a slow-mo after the fight. Oh, not after the fight, just after the whole finish. You get a better angle off that 1-2 down the middle.
That left hand is so scary, man. That left hand is so fucking
Just
scary.
fucking waiting for it.
You fight with your hands very low.
Yeah, that's just how I fight. I've trained myself to be like that.
But that's counter to what a lot of coaches would put out there.
Yeah, but I guess it's not so much what Suman and Ash have taught me. I've taught myself. They've just sort of adapted to my fight style and worked with it and taught me little things along the way on how to make my fight style better with keeping my hands low. So keeping them low, with sticking with the range, angles,
So this
footwork,
is where the overhand comes
all
in
that
now,
stuff.
isn't it?
Probably another. I think it was around 2 minutes and
Yeah.
50.
Well, you need to have so much. You have to be so much more aware of your head movement. You have to have so much more awareness of your space and your distance. And that's the thing I really like about you is that you're nimble. You're moving. You're on your bike. You're not static.
Well, I'm not gonna sit there and fucking stand and
That
bang.
overhand is
It's just-
so mean.
It's just being technical fighter, really. You got to be technical in this game. You can't be fucking spastic. And
You have a
fucking-
very similar style to Volkanovski, dare I say.
You reckon?
I think so.
There it is.
Dropped, and that's game over.
Yeah, you'll see if you go maybe 30 seconds in front, you'll see it from a different angle.
Yeah. What was that moment like for you jumping on the cage and
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Always good. It's a good feeling. But it happened so fast. I don't know. In my head, I wasn't expecting it to happen so fast. I didn't even expect to get the finish. It just happened. I was expecting to go the distance with Robby because Robby's a tough fighter. But I guess the left hand is what fucking did the job that night.
you were saying before that you kind of get disappointed when your fights end finish early, which is fucking hilarious.
I don't know, bro. I love a challenge. I love being tested. I love going deep waters. I love being challenged. I love the physical aspect behind it.
That ground and pound.
There. Oh, you'll see it as well a little bit further up. The
Oh
1-2.
my god. So talk me through this combo here. You threw that hook. There's a leg kick there.
Righty, let's just see it. That's the first one. And it's the same spot. Ready here. Right in the same spot. Just connected better. And it was more just behind the ear. Just, I don't know what you fucking call that part, but yeah.
There's a weird button there that'll just switch everything off.
But he did it on his own mistake because he threw like an outside leg kick. And then he curled up with his head that way. Yeah, as he threw the leg kick. Because it's like he went to tuck in.
Yeah.
But then just the left was timed perfectly. And I sat my
Thank you,
right
Sian.
leg out as I did it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, UFC.
I hope so.
Could
I
see
fucking
you
hope
on
so.
there.
Like,
It'd be
as I
great to
said,
have another Aussie on the scene.
UFC, 1FC, Bellator, BFL. Fuck, I'd love to fight on one of those promotions. I'd love to.
Do you see like a pathway? Do you see a trajectory? Do you see opportunities lining up? Because I mean, listen, dude, you have a 10-4 record. You're a lightweight champion. You have the strap. You've competed internationally. Like, there's enough accreditation out there to say, like, hey, like, this name should definitely be thrown in the mixer.
I hope so. And I mean, look, anyone that does this sport has that same sense. I mean, everyone does this sport to fight in the UFC. And I do hope I get the opportunity by the end of the year or maybe even early next year, because that's everyone's goal, that's everyone's ambition. I'm hoping one, maybe two more fights, get an opportunity, or even on another promotion, like international promotion. Whatever I can get.
How did those opportunities come up?
I don't know. Swimming usually just comes up and lets me know. A lot of my fights have always been last minute, right? So I'm always ready. I'm always training. I'm always doing something every day because Ash says it best. The best opportunities come around the corner. So in that sense, you have to be ready at all times. You have to be physically active. You
might have to take a fight on 2 weeks' notice.
Exactly. So in saying that, you have to be ready because, man, I could get an opportunity next week, or I could get an opportunity at the end of the month, whatever it is. An opportunity could just arise, and I just have to be there ready to take it. So, and that could be whether it's local or that could be on the big stage.
Last question. What level of success do you have to hit in order to say I've made it?
I don't know. Look, for myself, just do the right things day by day, I guess. Stick to your daily regime, stick to your routine, stay disciplined. Nutrition is key. Keeping your mind healthy is key. Like, these are all important aspects that are going to help you succeed. For myself, whether I make it or not, I don't care. I just look at the achievement along the way. So when I do stop this sport one day, I can look back and go, fuck, I fought on that show and I got that belt. I beat that person. All these things I can even share with my kids.
Yeah.
When I have kids one day, and I can say, yeah, that was me. I did this and I did that, and give them someone to look up to or someone to be inspired by. I don't want them to take the same path, but things like that. And not just my kids, other kids, even the ones I work with. I know for a fact they get inspired and they love it. They come up to me all the time. When's your next fight? Or are you fighting anytime soon? Things like that. They always ask me questions like that. And I just hope that they can be inspired by it, because whether I'm successful or not, it doesn't really bother me. I just want to see others using it to their advantage, whether it's fighting or whether it's something else that they're doing. Just sticking to those main principles, those fundamentals. That's what that will help them be successful in their careers or in their futures.
Some real shit right there, man.
I hope so.
Yeah, honestly, it is. It's the fact that you're not chasing that one thing. You're not chasing the fame. You're not chasing the recognition. For you, it's just that desire to be you.
Yeah, man. Like,
just authentically you. People fuck with that.
Yeah. Man, at the end of the day, it's just a sport.
Yeah.
Just like fucking rugby league, just like fucking all the rugby union, soccer. It's just a sport. And people do it just to better themselves. And I encourage people to better themselves, whether it's physically, mentally, whatever it is you want to do with your lives. Fucking find it, do it, and see the light out of it.
Josh Togo, you're not going anywhere. You've got plenty of fights yet to come. When can we see you next?
As in on the show?
No, I'm saying like in terms of fight career. Like, what do we have to look forward to?
We're in talks with defending the title.
Mm-hmm.
I won't spill the beans already, but on the next Urban, there's there's a guy coming down. Hopefully he still can accept it, but there's a guy coming down from Queensland. Finally, a fighter making an interstate fight, right? And this guy, like, he's a very respectable fighter, and he's been around for a long time. He's got some big power, so I'm looking forward to that fight. Unlike these other fucking cowards that don't like to make those travels, this guy, I give nothing but my utmost respect to him because he's coming down with a set of balls, like I said before. If you want to fight, fucking start looking outside the box, start making those.
And that will
travels.
be an urban event?
Yes.
So we could be expecting it around June.
Yes, June 3rd, I
June
think.
3rd.
This is what I've heard.
There's a rumours. Shh, don't tell anyone.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm pumped. It's good, man. I want to stay active.
100%. We need to see it. Let the people know where to find you. That's your camera right there. Plug all your social medias. The first one right here.
What am I doing at?
That one.
what do I
Right
do?
here. Just tell the people where to find you. Your Instagram handle, your Facebook.
Josh Togo is my Facebook. Josh Tooks. I don't know. Can they see that on the Instagram?
We can pull it up. Yeah, Sam, if you want to do that split screen. Yeah, they can see it.
Josh Tooks, JOSHTUUKS is my Instagram. Fuck, I don't really have any other handle, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm fucking... I'm a very fucking...
Low-key.
Yeah.
Low-key. I like that. Listen, man, thank you for coming on.
No, thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure. A lot of fun. And best of luck with June, although you won't be needing it.
Don't worry. I'll be back on this show after June. We can talk about the fucking defending belt.
100%. 100%. Thank you, man.
No worries.
Listen, guys, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time.